what if I told you that a single month, just around the corner, could be a massive global turning point? Well, today we're diving into a source that does exactly that. It puts a huge red circle around November 2025 as a time of potential crisis. So let's unpack this warning.
So what's the big deal with this 1 month? The source material kicks things off with a pretty dramatic question. Is the period from early November to early December 2025 a uniquely dangerous time? The author even calls it the last greatly unfavorable month of the year, which, definitely sets a serious tone for what's to come.
Okay, so the whole forecast really hinges on this one core concept from Chinese metaphysics, the water-fire clash. The source describes this as a time when these two powerful elemental energies are in a direct head-to-head conflict. Just imagine a cosmic tug-of-war between water and fire. It creates this incredibly unstable environment, full of extreme polarization all over the world. This single idea is the absolute key to understanding the entire prediction.
All right, so why November? Out of all the months in the year, why does the source single out this specific one with such a strong warning? Let's break down the reasons it gives.
This slide really lays out the why into 4 key points. First off, this month is the last of 4 particularly challenging months in 2025. Second, it's basically a preview, a sneak peek of the even more intense energy that's apparently coming in 2026. Third, it's the absolute peak of that water-fire clash we just talked about. And finally, and this is crucial, this clash creates extreme polarization. The source is very clear on this. There is no middle ground, no gray area. It's either going to be great good or great bad.
So with that framework in mind, the source then takes this theory and applies it to the real world, pointing to potential global flashpoints. And the picture it paints is a world of really, really stark contrasts. This table gives us a stark high-level view of the predictions, and you can see the world of contrasts immediately. The source uses these symbols to show risk, and those 3 swords, they represent the highest danger level. They're assigned to the north and the northeast, flagging things like war and disaster. Meanwhile, North America is marked for division and economic crisis. But then, look over at East and Southeast Asia. They get a green checkmark, signaling breakthroughs and growth. The real takeaway here is that the predicted impact isn't the same everywhere. It's intensely regional. Let's zero in on one of those highest risk areas. For the region the source just calls the North, which includes Russia and its neighbors, the prediction is pretty severe. It's forecasting a major escalation of military conflict using phrases that translate to things like an escalation of the omen of war and pointing to bloody omens. Okay, this next one shows the source's most extreme warning. The Northeast, covering the Koreas, Japan, and parts of China and Russia, is flagged for a really dangerous mix of threats. The prediction includes not just major natural disasters, but also severe conflict, using a term that chillingly translates to an omen of massacre. It's a truly dire forecast for this part of the world. Now, beyond all the geopolitical conflict, a huge piece of this forecast is centered on the global economy. The source suggests that this water-fire clash is going to show up as some serious financial instability. To make this threat feel a little more real, the source points to something tangible that just happened. In a single crypto market crash, over $19 billion in contracts were just wiped out, affecting more than 1.6 million people. Now, this isn't the prediction itself, but the source uses it as a chilling example of just how fast massive amounts of wealth can be destroyed, and it warns that this kind of shock could happen on an even bigger scale during that crisis period. The analysis then zooms out and uses this historical model of how empires tend to decline. The source argues that great powers often show the same 3 signs before a major crisis. First, massive overspending, especially on the military. Second, their currency starts to get devalued as people lose confidence. And third, they end up with an unsolvable debt problem that just keeps spiraling. The warning here is that this exact framework could be applied to the United States right now, which could potentially trigger global economic fallout. But here's the thing. According to the source, the crisis of November 2025 isn't even the main event. It's described as just a prelude, like a movie trailer for an even more chaotic year that's right on its heels. This timeline really visualizes what the source is calling the Great Upheaval. It sees 2025 as just the beginning, the start of it all. Then 2026 is positioned as the absolute peak of the turbulence, the most volatile year of the 3, with 2027 being the time for basically dealing with the aftermath. So why is 2026 supposed to be so intense? Well, the source draws a parallel to 1966. That was another Bingvu, or powerful fire year in the 60-year cycle, and it saw some major global upheaval. But the argument is that 2026 is going to be way more potent. And why is that? Because it falls within a larger 20-year cycle known as Period 9, which is also associated with the fire element. This creates what the author literally calls fire on top of fire, an unprecedented amplification of volatile energy. So after painting this, pretty grim global picture, the source shifts its focus dramatically. It goes from these huge macro predictions to very personal micro advice, offering an action plan for individuals to try and navigate all this predicted turmoil. So what does the source actually say you should do? Well, the advice is this interesting blend of the metaphysical and the super practical. On one hand, you have very grounded financial advice: protect your money, stay away from risky investments, and don't get caught up chasing market highs. But at the same time, it urges people to accumulate positive energy by doing good deeds and speaking kindly. But the most crucial part, the thing that's really emphasized, is the urgency. The author stresses that you need to act now, even stating it's already a bit late. The author then wraps up all this heavy forecasting with a very personal message of goodwill. It's a simple wish, really, for everyone's safety and health, which grounds all of these abstract predictions in a very human desire for well-being, no matter what comes. And so, this is where we're left. We've just gone through a source that predicts a world of extremes, of deep crisis and incredible opportunity existing side by side. And it poses a final, really powerful question. If the future is going to be this massive clash of extremes, where do we as individuals find our balance in the middle of it all? That's the challenge this forecast leaves us all to think about.